The 23rd Olympiad is just about to begin. Most of the crowd is in the Los Angeles Coliseum, and we're going to have a live report from the opening ceremony site. And President Reagan gives a pep talk to U.S. athletes at the USC Village.
Well, massive traffic congestion is backing up Olympic visitors for miles. The closest parking spaces at the Coliseum are going for premium prices. And we also have the aftermath of a tragedy in Westwood, and it's being cleaned up.
Also tonight, Ted Dawson live from the Coliseum with all the sports and an Olympic forecast that might call for rain. Next on Eyewitness News. This is Channel 7, the #1 station for news and information in Southern California. Now the latest breaking Eyewitness News with Joanna Shemita, Paul Dandridge, Ted Dawson with sports, Dallas Raines with the weather, and the Eyewitness News team.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this very special edition of Eyewitness News. We don't have to tell you, the big moment is almost at hand, just a half an hour away. And as the Olympic Games officially get underway, the torch has ended its 9,000-mile journey across America. You're looking at the pictures taken earlier today. The last few miles to the Coliseum were covered this morning. Right now, an electrifying charge of Olympic energy is starting to build as we get ready for ABC's live coverage of the opening ceremony, starting again at 4:30 right here on Channel 7.
And Joanne, in just a few minutes, of course, worldwide attention will be focused on the L.A. Coliseum and Henry Alfaro. I've got to tell you, I'm a little envious of you being down there. He's there with a live-action camera for a look at what's been happening there as the crowd gathers for the big event. And Henry, I was down for the rehearsal the other day. It is quite a show.
Paul, it's fabulous. It's difficult to talk about the feeling that's been generated here by the opening of the Olympic Games. To me, it's like the city of Los Angeles putting on a gigantic party and inviting the entire world. That's the kind of feeling that you have right here. There is electricity, there's people meeting people, there's people exchanging pleasantries, handshakes, people just doing all sorts of different things, and I think that, if I might add, we should have the Olympic Games practically every weekend. That's the kind of feeling that's generated here. Earlier today, here are some of the scenes in and around the Coliseum area. First of all, that historic torch run. Everywhere you go, people have been talking about that torch. It started 82 days ago back in the city of New York. Started off by the granddaughter of the legendary Jesse Owens and the grandson of Jim Thorpe. Here you can see the reaction of people all over Los Angeles as the torch shortly comes closer to the Coliseum. You know, the years of and months of planning now have boiled down to actually minutes. And in a short time, that torch is going to start off. It's a historic flame, but more important, it's a bringing of people together. Neighborhoods, cities, communities. I've had the privilege to see that torch run, and it's really been amazing. It's given me the spirit. Equally important is the fact of people trying to get into these games. There's tickets are going, and people have asked me if I can get tickets for them, $300 a pop. So it's an opportunity for a lot of people to get involved, even if they have to pay out the ears for it. At the same time, you see all of the flags. People from every nationality. I've seen all sorts of people with different dress types that they're all here for one purpose, to celebrate the games. Here, the red, white, and blue. The drummers entertaining a group of people outside the Coliseum area. People exchanging pins, dealing out some money for whatever, the tickets, I imagine. So these are the things that are going on in and around the Coliseum area. But the most important thing is that these are the Olympic Games. As I mentioned before, the years and months of planning have now completed, and it's now time to start the Olympic Games. With me are some of the people that'll be here. Obviously, they're the local people. They're ready for the games. Are you ready for the games?
We sure are. We can't wait. We feel real patriotic participating in these games. Can't wait.
What about the spirit? What's your feeling there?
I'm so excited about this. I couldn't have dreamt of anything more spectacular in my life. I feel wonderful that we're here.
How about you?
Oh, this is the most fantastic thing that we've ever experienced. We're excited. Come on, America.
Yeah.
We're proud.
We get few opportunities to express our patriotism for the United States. It's just fantastic here supporting Los Angeles and the United States.
Well, I'll echo those sentiments. I was born and raised here in Los Angeles, and by golly, it really makes me feel proud. And if I might extend my little bit of patriotism, go USA. Back to you, Paul, Joanne.
Henry, as of right now, I think we're going to go up to Jim Moray, and we're going to talk about how that traffic is doing. Go, Jim.
The horror stories of the anticipated traffic snarls would prove to be true, As you can see, they haven't. The freeways around the Coliseum are surprisingly light, although there was a fatal accident on the Hollywood Freeway near Alvarado which caused them backing up. The other traffic jams happened around the Coliseum. Many new one-way streets and restricted areas, plus new bus-only lanes were causing long waits. To compound matters, many of the drivers simply didn't know where they were going. For those who didn't want to battle the traffic, there was a choice, however. Shuttle service was available both with independent bus firms and with the Southern California Rapid Transit District. Incidentally, all park and ride lots are reportedly full today, something which is no doubt cutting down on the congestion. Maps of shuttle routes are available at stores and public libraries throughout Los Angeles. There was another reason not to drive today, and that was parking. True to predictions, parking lots near the Coliseum were going for the gold today, with parking spots across the street from the ceremonies selling for $100 each. Farther away, some lots are a better value, if you could call it that, going for $40 and $50 a space. There were some other problems on the freeways, though. About 80,000 motorists who normally use the Artesia Freeway on Saturday mornings had to find a different route today. The roadway was closed this morning between the Long Beach and Harbor freeways from 6:30 to 10:30 for Olympic bicycle trials for the 100-kilometer race. Now, it's going to be closed once again on Sunday, August 5th for the actual race. That day, the Artesia Freeway will be closed from the Harbor Freeway to Santa Ana in both directions between 5:30 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. But again, as you can see right now, it just looks like it's smooth sailing for motorists on the freeways, even all the way down to the Coliseum. Reporting live over Los Angeles in Air 7, I'm Jim Moray. Now back to you in the studio.
Okay, thanks for that updated traffic situation. It sure does. It looks pretty smooth sailing. Well, President Reagan will be arriving at the Coliseum in just a few minutes, all set to deliver a short but traditional opening speech for the ceremonies. The president arrived in the Southland this afternoon, and Ed Arnold has the details.
The President and Mrs. Reagan arrived at LAX just after 1 and flew by helicopter to the Olympic Village at USC, where the U.S. team is housed. Security was extra tight, with Secret Service all over the place. They, along with local law enforcement, joined the regular Olympic security, easily recognizable, wearing their blue berets. There were even sharpshooters atop the surrounding buildings. Then, just before 2, the President, with the U.S. team captains standing behind him, gave the red, white, and blue-clad United States Olympic team some final words of encouragement.
I want you to know just how proud all of us are to have you representing us. And when you see us out in the stands waving Old Glory, you know that we're waving it for you.
When the President had completed his remarks, the athletes, in a surprising move, let out a chant for Nancy Reagan, and she, too, offered her wishes for good luck. They both then took time to shake hands with many of the athletes. And as you'd expect, the President's appearance and speech was well received by the team. The President and Mrs. Reagan now will make their way to the Coliseum for the opening ceremonies, where at about 7:15 in 16 words, he is to officially open the Olympic Games. Then later tonight, they will fly by helicopter to Santa Barbara. Inside the Olympic compound at USC, Ed Arnold, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And we have more on the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. Meanwhile, in other news today, police have charged a 22-year-old Inglewood man with murder after he drove a car down a crowded Westwood sidewalk last night, killing one person and injuring over 50 others. John North has this story.
There now are few signs of what happened here last night, a few blocks from UCLA's Olympic Village. Small bouquets of flowers have been left where victims fell, but tourists and shoppers have returned to the trendy boulevard. Last night, 55 people lay scattered along the sidewalk for a block. Victim of a man witnesses say looked like a maniac, gritting his teeth as he drove at speeds up to 35 miles an hour along the sidewalk. Police say he probably would have hit more victims if a bus stop and kiosk hadn't blocked his way. 21-year-old Daniel Young was arrested. Police say there was no evidence of drugs or alcohol, that Young was apparently looking for police to hit.
He wanted to have revenge against the police, but no indication of why.
Young lived with his parents in a well-kept neighborhood of Inglewood, south of Los Angeles. His parents refused to talk with reporters, but a neighbor who went to high school with Young says Young was not a violent person.
I don't know, he was a quiet guy, you know, he kept to himself, listened to his music, and boom, that was it.
Other than a conviction for burglary, for which he's been on probation, police say Young has no prior record. And with the focus on the Olympics, officials here are taking pains to emphasize there's nothing connecting the tragedy to the Games.
You have to make it abundantly clear that Olympic security was not breached at all.
The tragedy here struck a raw nerve in a city almost paranoid about its image during the Olympics. In the meantime, Daniel Young is being held without bail, charged with murder. John North, Channel 7 Eyewitness News, Westwood Village.
Still to come this afternoon, we're going to check back with reporters Henry Alfaro and Jim Murray just before the big ceremonies get underway. Also, Dallas Rain says that showers may be in the Olympic forecast. We're going to be right back.
Today is, of course, the day for Southern California weather to shine around the world, so it's not going to let us down. Rain, I heard, though, huh?
Well, there are a few showers and some heavy thunderstorms, Paul and Joanne. They're mainly the desert areas. We're not going to worry about those too much. It's a little warm right now out at the Coliseum, and it is also rather humid, but that was in the forecast also. We do have a flash flood watch in effect this afternoon for portions of Southern California. Let's take a look at those. It's mainly in the Mojave Desert, Death Valley, San Gabriel Mountains, and San Bernardino Mountains. Until about 9 o'clock, we've been watching some very heavy thunderstorms develop out there this afternoon. And as I mentioned, that will be in effect until about 9 o'clock. Right now, it is 83 degrees. Skies are mostly sunny. The humidity is a little sticky at 51%. The barometer 29.94. This afternoon, we had a high temperature of 86. That's 30 degrees on the Celsius scale. This morning's low 71, and that's 22. Right now, most areas reporting sunshine. It is overcast down in San Diego. Their temperature is 80 degrees. On the national weather map this afternoon, we do have some thunder showers in the southeast extending all the way back to the western states today. High pressure over the Great Lakes bringing generally clear skies and nice and cool weather. Our satellite view from the west will show a trough of low pressure that's developing late today, and that simply means that tomorrow morning we'll have a few more clouds along the coast and temperatures perhaps a little bit cooler too. A close-in view will show the cloudiness and temperatures. Phoenix last night had up to 3 inches of rain. That brings their total to over 5 inches in Phoenix, and that's more than they've, well, it's the second most they've ever had in July. Right now, the heaviest thunderstorms can be seen on our color satellite. In the southeastern desert areas, there are a few heavy thunderstorms there. Had a report a few minutes ago from 29 Palms, some heavy rain going on at that hour. Now let's take a look at our forecast then for Los Angeles. For this afternoon, at the Coliseum, it's going to be beautiful. Sunshine, a little warm and humid. Our temperature out there now at 82 degrees. And the forecast for this evening, only a slight chance of a shower in the basin. Heavier thunderstorms will occur in the mountain areas tonight. Then for tomorrow, heavier cloudiness in the morning, but at afternoon high of only 84 tomorrow. In the valleys, up to 90 to 92. Orange County up to 93 tomorrow, and Riverside 91. Forecast for Santa Barbara, sunshine 75. There will be some morning clouds, though. In the mountains tomorrow, 81. In the deserts, over 100 degrees. In the low deserts tomorrow. On the beaches, we should have a lot of clouds developing in the morning, an afternoon high of about 74. Our coastal forecast for tonight, look for the clouds developing after around midnight this evening, and then hanging around on the beach tomorrow till about lunchtime, then partly sunny skies during the afternoon. Our winds will be from the west-southwest at 10 to 16, the waves of 1 to 2 feet, swells from the southwest 1 to 3, and our water temperature is 69 degrees. So the weather's looking beautiful this afternoon. A little on the humid side, but otherwise very, very nice.
I think it's about 95 in the studio, too.
It feels that hot here, doesn't it?
I can feel it. Thank you so much, Dallas.
Okay.
Well, the Olympics, almost the only game in town, but not quite. We're going to go back to the Los Angeles Coliseum for Ted Dawson with the rest of sports right after this.
That's us.
We have got Ted Dawson standing by live right now at the Los Angeles Coliseum, and he not only has to keep track of the Olympic opening ceremonies, but all the other sports happenings in town. Ted.
Joanne, you are absolutely right. Well, by the way, tell Dallas, you and Paul, that the wind has picked up a lot here at the Coliseum, and as a result, it's gotten a lot cooler here. This is the athletes' entrance right here. You see the Coliseum right behind me. Just minutes ago, President Reagan came through. Oh, about half an hour ago, the American track and field team, as a matter of fact, the entire Olympic team came through. One of the interesting things, Peter Vidmar from UCLA, who, of course, is America's top male gymnast, came through. He wanted his picture taken in the bus, so he handed me his camera. I took his picture right out here. You see, these athletes want just as many memories here at the Olympics as you and I do. One other interesting thing that I've got to tell you about, we're right, as I mentioned, outside the main entrance here where all the athletes are coming in, and this guy pulls up in this very official-looking car. He says, I'm supposed to park right here where this thing is, this barrier is. So I said, well, okay. I moved the barrier for him. He got out of the car, and he says, hi, I'm Juan Antonio Samaranch. I'm the president of the International Olympic Committee. Here, I'll give you a solid gold Olympic keychain. So that's what's happened so far here at the Olympics, and of course we'll have full Olympic coverage for you all night long here on Channel 7 and ABC. But as you mentioned, lots more sports. Let's get right out to Dodger Stadium and check out the action there. The Dodgers have gone 22 straight innings without scoring a run. We pick up the action in the 6th inning. Dave Anderson at the plate against Tom Hume. Anderson slaps this shot to left field. It is off the wall. Anderson is on his way to second base. Dave Anderson has himself a triple, and the Dodgers has something going with no outs in the 6th inning. With Anderson on third, Mike Marshall sends it to Dwayne Walker in left field. Walker is right there to make the play. He slips and falls. He makes the catch, but Anderson is able to tag up and score from third. It's 1-0. The Dodgers have finally scored. Bob Welch was sensational, but so was Herman Rivera. Look at this play on Brad Golden in the 8th inning. Welch has Cesar Cedeno to end the game. 22 in a row Welch got out. He pitched a 2-hitter as the Dodgers go on to win by a score of 1-0. Sensational pitching performance for Bobby Welch. Here's Bobby talking after the game.
Anytime I go out there and win a game right now, I'm very happy, and our team needs wins. And as well, they needed some help out of my position for the last month or two here. I haven't been helping them out, and it gets frustrating, and you want to go out there and do the job that you're capable of.
A great pitching performance by Bob Welch. Let's look at the scoreboard as you see the Dodgers with the 1-0 victory. The latest score from San Francisco, Atlanta was leading the Giants by a score of 4-3 in the 9th inning. Elsewhere, St. Louis knocks off Pittsburgh, and the big game back in New York, the Chicago Cubs move to back within 3.5 games of the New York Mets. Let's show you how they do it. We go to the action in the 7th inning. The Cubs lead by a score of 3-2. But Mike Fitzgerald hits the easy shot to Bob Dernier in center field. Now, Dernier is one of the best center fielders in the National League, but he drops this one. Hubie Brooks scores all the way from first base. Suddenly, we're tied 3-3 in that all-important Eastern Division game. Now, we go to the Cub 8th, and it all falls apart. Leon Durham with the shot to right field. That scores Ryan Sandberg. The Cubs on top by a score of 4-3. Former Dodger Ron Say up now. Say hits it to short center field. It drops in for the base hit. That scores Leon Durham, and also scores Keith Morley. It's 7-3 as the Chicago Cubs score 8 runs in the 8th inning to beat the New York Mets by a score of 11-4. One score in the American League. The New York Yankees get a big victory for the Angels. As far as the Angels are concerned, they knock off Chicago by a score of 3-2. Lots of football news today, and it centers around a very popular fellow here in this area. There he is, one of 4 inducted into the Hall of Fame today, Willie Brown, the all-time great cornerback of the Oakland Raiders, and now, of course, a coach with the Los Angeles Raiders. He spent 15 years in pro football. He is accredited with starting the bump and run sort of defensive technique. How about that interception? One of 54 in his great career. Willie Brown, the defensive coach of the Los Angeles Raiders, inducted today in the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, back in Canton, Ohio. That wasn't the only action in Canton. A football game. We pick up the action in the first quarter. From the 17, Seattle's Dave Craig is throwing for Byron Walker. Touchdown! Seattle leads Tampa Bay by a score of 7-0 in the second period. The score is 14-0. Zachary Dixon gets the call from the 5 right across the middle. It's 21-0 Seattle in the second period. Tampa Bay with the ball. Frank Garcia, their punter. Look, he can't handle the ball. It goes for the end zone. There's a scramble for it in the end zone as the ball continues to pop loose. Finally, when they come out on top, Greg Gaines finally recovers it for Seattle. It's 28-0, and Chuck Knox and his Seattle Seahawks go on to embarrass Tampa Bay by a score of 38-0. One final note in sports today, that's golf. Golf's still going on. Back on the East Coast, the Greater Hartford Open, sponsored by Sammy Davis. On 13, this is Peter Jacobsen. He had 5 birdies on the front 9. This is another one on 13. Look at that, as Jacobsen cans this birdie for a 63 and a 1-stroke lead over this guy. Mark O'Mara also going for a bird on 13. O'Mara drops this one home, and it's a 1-shot lead for Peter Jacobsen over Peter O'Mara after 3 rounds with 1 round to go in the Greater Sammy Davis Jr. Greater Hartford Open Golf Tournament. That's the story from here, where we're just minutes away from the greatest spectacle in sports, the 23rd Olympiad, starting right here in our town, Los Angeles. I tell you, I'm excited. I hope you're as excited at home, and you two back in the studio. We'll have all the highlights for you tonight at 11 o'clock. I'm Ted Dawson, reporting live from right outside the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum.
Teddy, I can feel the excitement in your voice and hear it. What is it like down there with the people coming in, the president down there, the athletes?
Paul, it is incredible down here. You see some of the people behind me right now. It is jam-packed here. As we were telling you earlier, here's some of the people right now. That's the attitude here at the Coliseum. And the roads were packed as we were coming in here. It took about 2.5 hours to get in here, but these people feel it's worth it. We're going to show you how much it's worth it in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Ted. It's getting a little crazy down there. Coming up next, we'll go back to the Coliseum for a final wrap-up look at the traffic included before the Olympic opening ceremony. We're going to go back now to the man in the very high tripod, the helicopter, Jim O'Ray, for a live update on the traffic situation around the Coliseum. Where else? Jim. Henry, ready? Well, you can see some of the traffic that actually looks very clear right now around the Coliseum. There's I believe, the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion over to the left, and some of the other, that's the Hollywood Freeway going north, just a bit the other side, if you will, of the Coliseum area. And obviously we had a little problem with the sound on that. I think Henry is ready, though.
Right. We're going to go back to the Los Angeles Coliseum, where Henry Alfaro has been standing by. He's been covering the Olympics for months now, and he has an update on the situation there. Henry.
Well, this is a historic occasion. As you know, this is the second time in the 20th century that the city of Los Angeles will be hosting the Olympic Games. The first one occurred back in 1932, and now 1984. And within minutes, the opening day ceremonies will begin, and officially the games will start here in the city of Los Angeles. The preparations, the plans have been tremendous. You might add that right now, in a little while, you're going to see a cast of literally thousands of people that will be taking part in the ceremonies. Right above me right now is a helicopter. Obviously, they're keeping tabs on where that torch relay run is. But I have to say that in covering the games, I saw the ideas originate. I saw the sketches and the plans. But now I see it all. And I have to admit, I'm very impressed because it's been a gigantic undertaking. The blueprints for this is just enormous. And as Peter Uberoth says, everything now has been done. We now have to get on with the games. There have been problems in the past, the boycott, the ticket squabbles, all those things, security and so forth. But anything as elaborate and as big as this obviously has to have some problems.
Okay, Henry, thank you very much. And we're all going to watch now, as the world is, as it starts in just a few minutes. And that's Eyewitness News for now. Coming up next, of course, the Olympic opening ceremony. We'll see you at 11. Stay tuned.
And now, a Channel 7 editorial.
A June event that went almost unnoticed may save Los Angeles County taxpayers as much as $120,000. That's when congressional amendments to the 1965 Voting Rights Bill took effect. Because of them, Los Angeles County no longer must print bilingual ballots. The requirement was that if 5% of the population couldn't read or speak English, bilingual ballots must be provided. Based on the 1980 census and those congressional amendments, only 10 California counties still have to supply second language ballots. That's federal law. None of those counties is in Southern California. A state law, however, still requires oral assistance to be provided in precincts where 3% of the voters are non-English speaking. A bilingual copy of the ballot must also be on display in each polling place. The $120,000 that might be saved was the estimated cost of the bilingual county ballot in November of 1982. Los Angeles Councilman Hernani Bernardi has requested a city attorney opinion on whether the city can also drop the extra printing. That will be determined by city charter wording. The issue will probably be argued. Local politicians may well cry foul in an effort to gain favor from Hispanic constituents. This is a move that's long overdue. The mere information on a printed ballot is seldom enough to enable anyone to cast an intelligent vote. The bilingual ballot has seemed a token gesture at best. I'm Gene Webster.